Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gaudavani Pacharini, Nirvasesha Sunyavari Paskachada Satarni. We can turn it up just a bit, if you don't mind. Thank you all for coming. I know there's many things that you could be doing on your Sunday afternoon. And I'll try not to be... Thank you. Can you all hear now? Can you hear in the corner there? Too loud? I'm not intimidated. Might be a bit. It might be a bit loud now, Jamuniji. Yeah, we could just. It's because it's. I don't want to be intimidating more than I already am. Okay, so. Well, I guess we'll just begin. You know, when I was a kid, and I'm sure I'm not unique in this, I used to wonder if I got in a spaceship, rocket ship, and I just kept traveling, you know, into space, what would happen? Would I hit a brick wall? Would time fold back in on itself? Or would I just travel eternally in dark, empty space? So at least the idea is that, is there a higher reality? Is there more to life than just existence? The animal propensities, as it's referred to in the Vedic knowledge, Vedic information. Vedic means from the Vedas. Like you have Bible, biblical, Quran, Quranic. So we have Vedic, which is based, those are our source books, the Vedas. And the Vedas say that animal life, in general, consists of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And is our life meant to be the same, only a little more polished? You know, we're at the top of a skyscraper building, or instead of claws and nails, we have weapons of mass destruction, or whatever it is. But is the psychology animalistic, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending? Or is there more to life? Is it, or just, what is it? Live well and leave a good corpse. You know, I dropped dead and I had a good life, filled my belly. Is there more? So that's the natural, thoughtful, human instinct. What is it? Atato Brahma Jigyasya, which is Sanskrit for, again, one of the Vedas, and it's Vedanta Sutra, is the book. And Vedanta Sutra says, now in the human form of life, in this which we consider, we have man is the rational animal. Who am I? Where did I come from? We have a sense of future. So, are there higher realities? It's a natural question. So that's where we're going here. And just this is just for fun. You can see here, you know. So he's living his humdrum life, but hey, wait a minute. There's a whole other reality. Is it possible for us? Is there actually a higher reality, higher dimensions of thought? Is spiritual vision, is it based on blind faith? Is it only for those who are sentimental or foolish, and everybody else, hey, I'm a man of science, and it's all laws of physics only? So what people tell you is, I only, you know, show me God, show me the soul. What is it in Missouri, you know, different, California on its license plate, it used to say, you know, they have the slogans. California used to be the fruit and nut state. It was because of the now they've changed it because it has a double meaning. But Missouri used to be the show me state. You know, show me. But is seeing actually believing? We may see it, but we said, and I'm going to just show you in a few minutes what I mean. So everybody here's at some point had a kaleidoscope. You know, you look through it and makes like pictures like this, you know, beautiful stained glass like that. Anybody here, so that's what you're seeing. Anyone here ever take apart a kaleidoscope? I did. What do you have inside? You have some mirrors. I'm just learning how to use this thing. You've got some mirrors here. You've got some little chips of broken glass, even paper. You got a tube. So you're not actually seeing a stained glass window, but refracted through the three mirrors, We say life is refracted through three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And we see all the different concepts. But really, it's just eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And what our eyes are seeing is not really necessarily what we're seeing. Everybody here see a seagull? Can you? Oh, yeah, work with me. See the little beak? See the little cute little eye? It's a seagull. Bark, bark. Or whatever they do. We hear so many of them. Hey, wait a minute. You see the rabbit? See the ears? See the eyes? See the cute little nose? So help me out here. Wait, is it a seagull? Everybody see a seagull? Wait a minute. You see a rabbit? Seagull? Rabbit? We could stay here all day long. But in other words, seeing is not necessarily reality in and of itself, according to your concept. If you expect to see a rabbit, you see a rabbit. If you expect to see a seagull, you see a seagull. But you're seeing the same thing. So seeing is not necessarily the full story. Here's another example. You see a barracuda? See the eyes, see the teeth? Oh, we all know it's just a jacket with a zipper. But if you have a concept, then you see it. Tell me, answer this one. Are the lines parallel or are they sloping? What do they look like? They look like they're sloping. I swear to you, you can get a ruler, they're all straight lines. There's no bend or curve in there. Which way are the birds flying? Are they flying this way or this way? We could do these all day long. It's kind of fun, actually. So is seeing believing? Well, that all depends. Is it a side view or a front view? See, the guy's looking right straight at you, or it's a profile. Which one is it? All depends on how you concentrate. Count the black dots for me. Here's a real fun one. Make a little keyhole with your hand and then look. The truth is, there are no black dots. There are no black dots. Sure looks like there are, but when you narrow it down, you'll see there's actually no black dots. Exactly. There's white dots. Thank you, my friend. So we all know the story of the three blind men who encountered the elephant, or the different blind men. One got the leg and it felt like a palm tree. Another one got the tail and it was a brush. Another you got the tusk and it was a spear. But all of them were convinced, and according to their narrow band of experience, they were correct. But it certainly was not the full picture. So seeing, it's not necessarily, well, here it is. So there it says, seeing may be believing, but is it actually knowing? I believe I saw, but what is it actually knowing? Here's another example. Anybody here ever seen the pyramids, actually been to the pyramids and seen them? I actually have, by coincidence, in my earlier days. Anybody here seen the Eiffel Tower? Raise your hand. We got a few people who've seen the Eiffel Tower. Now, is there anyone here who is a Eiffel Tower doubter? A pyramid conspiratorist? There is no, it's all Photoshop. There's no pyramid, there's no... Why do you believe it? Why? Well, I saw a picture in the book. I saw it online. Could be Photoshop. Well, we have faith. Well, my brother went there, or they took a selfie in front of it. So it's not just our seeing, but we have confidence in what other people tell us. There's different types of pramanas, or different types of evidence given in the Vedic way of thought. So this is that you believe certain authorities, but what is that based on? But so just seeing is not enough. Hearing from people we have confidence in, that's another way of knowing. Anybody ever see Christopher Columbus? George Washington? Anyone doubt Christopher Columbus? What is it, 1492? Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Anybody doubt it? Of course, Columbus, we believe in reincarnation, every transmigration of the soul. George Washington may be sitting in this room in another body, but that's another story. But we believe it because, well, it's recorded by people we trust. So seeing is not, the sensual perception in and of itself is not the best or full basis for knowing. Here's another one, parallel universes, which Einstein, it's accepted, it is common principle in physics, that there's multidimensionals. Time is the fourth dimension. There's so many different, I think they say there's up to 32 dimensions or something. wrap your mind around that one. But what are we talking about? Here's an example. Because we're talking about a spiritual dimension, we're talking about the soul, we're talking about mystic power, all kinds of higher dimensions, life on higher planets. Oh, spare me. No, it's not such a bizarre concept. It's not such a stretch of logic. It's not just magical, mystical thinking for foolish and sentimental people. It's actually for thoughtful people. I'll give you a simple example. What is the shortest distance between two lines? What the different dimensions can completely change the picture. Different dimensions can change reality, change the picture. So, a question. What is the shortest distance between two lines? Between 2 points. What's the shortest distance between 2 points? A straight line, basic geometry. Are you sure? No. Not always. What happens when you, 2 dimensions, it's true. When you only have breadth and width, sure, 2 dimensions, flat, shortest distance between 2 lines, 2 points is a straight line. But when you add the dimension of height, what happens if between the 2 points you put Mount Everest? Then all of a sudden the shortest distance is not a straight line up and over, but to go around. As soon as you add another dimension, the whole picture changes. And right here, whoop, what happened? Hey man, we went a long way, didn't we? Okay, so as soon as you put something, add another dimension, the whole picture changes. So even within our own experience, we see how different dimensions that we personally experience can change the whole picture. Here's another one. Suppose, well this says this is in downtown Chicago, Ohio, and Michigan. But suppose I say, let's pick on somebody. I don't want to pick on, you're sitting right in front of me, but I don't want to put you on the spot. Let's say Hashagrami. Raise your hand. He's an intelligent young man, college graduate, energetic. Suppose I say to Hasya Prabhu, hey, let's meet on the corner, downtown, on the corner of 4th and Broadway. And just to be sure, on the northwest corner of the 4th of Broadway, tomorrow's the 10th, on the southwest corner. It's pretty specific, isn't it? So I show up at 9 o'clock. I wait for a half an hour. I'm on the southwest corner. It's 9 a.m. I'm on the corner of 4th and Broadway. No Hasya. So I'm not a very patient person, but I wait half hour, 45 minutes. Finally, I say, hey, I got things to do. Something must have happened. He's a sincere person. Something must have happened. I see Hasya Prabhu the next day. I say, hey, what happened? I was waiting for you for 45 minutes. He says, Swami, I was also there. I was on the southwest corner, and I waited for you for 45 minutes. So how can both statements be true? How can both he and I be there, right time, right day, right place, southwest corner, and have and be standing on one hand in the exact same place and have no experience of each other? This tall building, this tall building right here is a hint. Anyone want to take a guess? Excelente. What happens if he's on the ground floor and I'm on the 4th floor? 2 dimensions were in the exact same place. You add the dimension of height, we don't even see or experience each other. So what if there are higher realities, higher dimensions? We experience it right here in this world on a regular basis. Here's one more, and then we'll move on. There are other dimensions all around us at all times. I mean, it used to happen. Sometimes on this microphone, we'd pick up police signals when police cars would go by. I could take that computer right now and go shopping on Amazon. I mean, that's flying right. Football guy. I was giving a talk one time, and there was a guy sitting in front of me. I thought he had an old-fashioned what do you call it? Hearing aid. And it turns out he was just listening to the ball game. You know, he was just, I was talking, but he was off in Chicago watching the, Cubs play who knows who, So all of that is in here. With my computer, somebody right now could be watching on their phone, I don't know what, some kind of something. So if you have the right device, all kinds of realities are flying through this room right now. Is that a fact or not? Sure. You just have to have the right device and you can catch it. So if we have the right level of consciousness, there's all kinds of dimensions throughout creation. And if we're perceptive and tuned in and spiritually advanced, we can catch them. It is not a sentimental, and it's against the laws of physics. No way. It's a confirmation of the laws of physics. So, here's another principle, that we all operate with these principles, but do we ever challenge them? Basic principle of materialistic life is reductionism. That everything ultimately is subordinate to my sense perception and can be broken down into easily manageable pieces. I can take big concepts, I can take small atoms, they can all be broken down. What are they down to? Nano? What's smaller than a nano? Quark? Anything smaller than a quark? But I remember it was just electrons, protons, and neutrons, right? Now, one time there was just molecules. Before there was elements. So they're breaking it down, breaking it with the idea that ultimately everything can be broken down into, like building blocks. Any little kid can stack together blocks and make a house. Similarly, all existence ultimately can be broken down into tiny pieces that operate on laws of motion, laws of entropy, laws of physics, whatever it is, that are subordinate to my intellect. And ultimately, I can break down the universe into all the pieces, and I can understand it and control it. That is a basic premise. But what's it based on? Why? Just like here, here with these butterflies, everything is pinned. You can capture it, you can pin it down, and you can stand above it, observe it. Man is the measure of all things. Why? Why? An ant crawling on this floor. I'm droning on, the ant is crawling, comes up over this seat, climbs up over me, climbs down, climbs back. Reports to the queen. Christopher Columbus ant. Magellan ant. Reports to the queen. Vast realities, forests, lakes, mountains, all uninhabited. The ant is climbing on me, but his conclusion is uninhabited, because I am completely beyond his range of perception. What if we are like that ant in the universe? And if you ever do one of those, online, you can go from where you're standing, zoom out, and you can see your city, zoop, you can see California, zoop, it goes out, you can see planet Earth, all the way it goes out to our galaxy, just there in the Milky Way, and you realize, whoa, we are in a remote and insignificant corner of creation. And yet everything is subordinate throughout existence to our intellect. It's like if the ant said that. We just laugh at it. Can all things be broken down into little pieces subordinate to our intellect? That's the point I'm trying to make. This is the Hadron Super Collider. This thing, I think it's got a track of 8 miles an hour, and it takes atoms and smashes them into each other, and in a nanosecond they take a photo of it and they try to figure out. It's like if I took two cars. If I wanted to understand a gas combustion engine, a car, and I took two cars and ran them around a racetrack and had them smash into each other at 200 miles an hour, and then I picked through the pieces and tried to figure out, what is a gas combustion engine? I got a hubcap, I got a, one of those little caps that's on the end of where you put the air in the tire. I got the steering, whatever it is, gear shift. That's it. Actually, when you think about it, it's your tax dollars at work. It's actually pretty childish. But that's all they know. And they're convinced. Ultimately, everything can be broken down into pieces subordinate to my intellect. But let's study the arrogance of that assumption. Here's a horse with blinders on it. Now, suppose if that horse said, anything outside my blinders doesn't exist. Suppose I put blinders on and said, okay, everybody to the right, everybody to the left, no prasadam, no feast tonight for you, because you don't exist. Sorry, too bad for you. Would you guys accept that? You're kind and gentle, and you think, well, the old guy's finally gone off the rails, I'm just going to get prasadam before he's done talking. I'll go back and make my own plate. It's ridiculous. And yet, it's the same claim. Whatever, I blow a dog whistle, we can't hear it. I hold a prism up to a light at so many colors that previously you couldn't see. So in so many ways, our senses only experience a small band, and our intellect is the same, frankly. There's only so much bandwidth. So the simple point is to make the claim that if I can't see, smell, taste, touch, measure it, if it's not subordinate to my perception and intellect, it doesn't exist, then we are as stupid as a horse, frankly. It's not sentiment to believe in higher dimensions, higher reality, spiritual energy, that the consciousness. If I ask you guys, sitting in this room, and there is a way to do it, I'm going to pick on you, if you don't mind. Can you tell me if the wind is blowing outside? Well, she says no. On one hand, that's true. Is there a way that you can tell from inside if the wind is blowing? You see the internet. Okay. You can see it by its symptom. What is the symptom? If you look outside and see that the leaves are moving, oh, the wind is blowing. Yeah? So even though you don't experience it directly, you can see it's by its symptom. The soul, that each of us is an individual, eternal soul. What is the symptom? Consciousness. Each one of us has our own individual consciousness. It's called in the Bhagavad Gita, what time is it? In the Bhagavad Gita, it's called Kshetra and Kshetragya. Kshetra means the field, like a farmer in his field. There's the farmer, and then his field. And he can plant, he can harvest, he can do so many things. So there is the knower of the field, that's the self, the soul, and then there's the body and our whole reality. That's the field. So there's a difference. What is it? I think, therefore I am. Beginning of Western modern philosophy. That, okay, I'm not so sure what all that is. But I know that I have an individual perception. I think I have an internal reality. I have a sense of self. And then there's the exterior. So there's two. So in the same way, the brain is not and we could spend a lot of time, which we don't have, but the brain is not the source of consciousness. It is the medium that expresses consciousness. But consciousness is itself independent. Consciousness is the symptom of the presence of the soul. The soul is conscious and works through the mind. Just like if I have a computer, because people will say, well, you can manipulate the brain and change your consciousness. So it proves that consciousness is generated by the brain. That's not true at all. It's ridiculous. If I have a computer I'm working and my computer fritzes, does that mean that I die? I become unconscious? I become a dull stone? No, I'm inhibited. I'm limited because my medium is flawed. But I am independent of the medium, the computer. Similarly, the brain is simply the computer, the vehicle for the consciousness, which is proof of the presence of the soul to function. That's a side issue. But my point is, again we did it. Wait, we're going the wrong way. Like I said, I'm getting used to this thing. Okay, if I don't see it, it doesn't exist. Here's a fun one, and it's true. You can Google it, because everything's true online. This is Parkes Observatory in Australia. It's used by NASA when things go in the southern hemisphere. I think it's a radio telescope. It's one of the best in the world. Parkes Observatory. For 17 years, they were making amazing discoveries in cosmology, in the dark corners of existence. They found two black holes. They found neutron stars colliding. They were Scientific America, National Geographic, peer-reviewed, prime scientific articles, awards, Parkes Observatory. Amazing things they were finding. You know what it turned out to be? I swear to you. It took them 17 years to realize it was the microwave in the staff cafeteria sending out impulses. Like, let's suppose you set the timer, you want to make some popcorn. You put it in the timer 3 minutes. But you see that it's already popped, so you stop the microwave before 3 minutes. If you set the timer and then stopped it and opened the door before the time was up, it set out an impulse, which is what the radio telescope was picking up. They said, oh, it is the distant echo of the Big Bang. No, my friend, it's the microwave in the staff cafeteria. So there should be a little healthy skepticism when they present to you, everything's controlled, subordinate to my senses, and we are figuring out the recesses of the universe. No, they're like the horse with blinders on. Actually, this is something Srila Prabhupada, the founder of the Harekrishna movement, said to our, we have something called the Bhaktivedanta Institute, which is a group of Vaishnavas, theists, devotees, who are, PhDs and trained in the scientific field. So he said to them, actually, all you can study are things of medium size and nearby. Again, we only have a spectrum that we can experience. How far can our microscopes actually see? We're dependent on those. Smaller, smaller, and smaller, but there's a limit. And also, with our big telescopes, how far can we see? One man said, I was sitting in the room, one man kept saying to Srila Prabhupada, well, as far as I know. Well, as far as I know. Well, as far as I know. Prabhupada finally stopped him and said, that's my point, sir. How far do you actually know? As far as I know? Okay. How far do you know? So here it is. We can only examine things that are nearby and of medium size and material. We can't understand consciousness, so many things that are of a spiritual dimension. Okay. So in that case, if this case is accurate, that we are finite, and anybody in this room can tell me what's happening on the other side of this wall? I mean, come on, it's only, what is it? It's not, 50 feet to the other side? Anybody tell me what's going on out there? I certainly can't. And we're going to understand the deepest recesses of creation and existence? I mean, let's be honest. We're a little bit limited. So what to do? Throw our hands up and well, that's the end of the thing? Or just say, reality, this is all we can know, that's all we can deal with. Okay. But let me give you an example. Suppose, where is Janak? Suppose a young man, I think he's over at the, whatever. Suppose a young kid poured glue on this seat and glued to, and I sat down, ha ha ha, let's play a practical joke on the Swami. So I sit down, all of a sudden I'm glued to this seat. If I want to shake hands with you, is it possible? I can only go so far. So can I shake hands with her? Or can I shake hands with you? This one is a trick question. Anyone want to hazard a guess? I am limited. I am finite. But if he takes the initiative and comes to me, it becomes a very easy thing, isn't it? So if the infinite takes the initiative and comes to me, then I can easily have contact. So the point is, can the finite, us, understand the infinite? This is I don't want to go into it too long because of the time factor, but this is, we say that there's a spiritual dimension. Let's see what's up here. Okay, this is we are in one of these universes. So many universes are emanating from Mahavishnu. This is an expansion of Krishna. And beyond this, it's like a big cloud, this material nature. Behind this, like if it's cloudy and you fly up on a plane, you can go above and all of a sudden it becomes sunny. So this, what we're experiencing is called the Mahatattva. Whoops. Hey, Govinda. It is that cloud. And if one's able to transcend all the way through this cloud, one will come to the spiritual dimension. Ultimately, one will come to the kingdom of God. One will come to Krishna or God. That's what's happening. So how do we do this? If the infinite, if Krishna takes the initiative and reveals himself to us in one of these little bubbles, then it's possible. So as it says here, only, how can the infinite understand the finite? By our own, as my guru liked the saying, you cannot take the kingdom of God by storm. But if the absolute decides to reveal itself, it's possible by descending revelatory knowledge. Just as he revealed himself to me, the absolute reveals itself to the finite. That's the only way to understand higher realities, higher dimensions, the full truth. If that truth chooses to reveal itself. So how does that happen to us? I've seen this in India with monkeys. I don't know if anyone else has seen it. Let's say that this is a big mango tree, which it is. And of course, the nicest mangoes are by the top. They get the most sun. So what do? Shake the tree and try to catch them when they fall? A nice big ripe mango, when it falls, it splats on the ground, you know? So how is it possible to get the mangoes? Wait. You're right. I'm going to call on you. But I'm on the ground looking at all these luscious mangoes. I've tried shaking them. They all fall on the ground. I tried shaking them. I've been smacked in the head. There's got to be a better way. So how is it done? You make a chain, just like she says. You climb up on the branches, somebody picks, hands it down to the next, hands it down to the next. And in this way, by a chain, it comes, so I'm right there on the ground, and I get that mango from the very top of the tree, right in my hand, unbruised, no cranial damage, it didn't fall on my head. So in the same way, spiritual knowledge comes down. This is called the Guru Parampara. And that is, here is Krishna speaking, here's the Supreme Lord speaking to Arjuna, Krishna, Bhagavad Gita. The same message, it's handed down from Brahma. There was a picture there of Brahma, the original creator of this universe. There's so many Brahmas. But it goes from Brahma, it explains to his son Narada, Narada explains to Vyasa to Madhava. I've shortened the chain here, but it's a chain of master-disciple, all the way from Krishna to Veda Vyasa, who wrote everything down, and ultimately it comes down in a pure line all the way down to Srila Prabhupada, the founder of the Harekrishna movement, and then from him to his pure disciples, those who were following him purely. So this way, transcendental, sublime knowledge can be handed down, you know, branch by branch, guru by guru, guru to pure disciple who becomes himself a guru, that guru teaches his disciple. In this way it goes on, and the knowledge descends to us today right here. It is not impossible, it's readily available. So what is this worldview? What is this spiritual worldview? I picked these just for fun. You know, at least in the Christian theology, at only some branches, many stress the mercy and Mother Mary and Jesus, which is a good thing. But generally speaking, God himself is sort of in an angry mood. He's always smiting and smoting and smitten. What is it? I don't know what the past tense is, you know, throwing thunderbolts. So here you have one group here, they're saying, you know, beware of God. So everybody's being struck, you know. And this is when God's wrath level, you know, like there's a heightened level of different terrorists, red, orange, yellow. So God's ticked off at us and getting ready to throw a thunderbolt. So is that what it is? Is it a world of fear and guilt? Actually, by following the process of truly realized souls, one gets the knowledge of the sublime, benevolent, spiritual world, the kingdom of God. One of the names for Krishna, or the Supreme Lord, is Karuna Sindhu, an ocean of mercy. Dinu Bandhu, friend of the most fallen. And again, this is Rupa and Sanatana Goswami coming in that line of pure masters and giving us the message of what is the kingdom of God actually like. 3 words, Sat Chit Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge, and full of happiness, ever increasing, unlimited happiness. So we're actually coming to a point here. This is Srila Prabhupada, the founder of the Harekrishna movement, coming in that line of perfect masters and disciples. And he took the message of Veda Vyasa, the Vedic literature, the ripened fruit of that Vedic knowledge. Picture the Vedic knowledge like a tree, and the best fruit is called the Bhagavad Purana, or Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srila Prabhupada, personally inspired, we don't have time to go into it, but personally inspired, personal darshan, personal revelation, Rupa Goswami, one of those prime leaders in that disciplic line, appeared before Srila Prabhupada and instructed him on how to write, how to translate the Bhagavatam. That same Bhagavatam is sitting right here on this table. Oop, I don't want to blind anybody. It's sitting right on this table, that same Srimad Bhagavatam, coming originally from Krishna to Vyasadeva and handed all the way down. That explanation of the spiritual nature and the activities of the soul. So it's an encyclopedia of timeless wisdom, the Srimad Bhagavatam. sitting right here. The original Sanskrit is there, written in the original script, the Devanagari, broken down in word for word, with so you can understand what each word is, and then the translation, and a detailed, profound commentary or explanation. So it is shining. This is Veda Vyas, the original compiler of the Vedic literature. This is Veda Vyas, and it's shining down the light, the knowledge found in the Srimad Bhagavatam in this current age of Kali. This age is symptomized by quarrel, confusion, lack of truth. Need I mention a prominent personality in the American government who manifests the age of Kali? You can understand what I'm talking about, I hope. But the Bhagavatam is described as brilliant as the sun. When it's nighttime, I look outside, oh, maybe there's some robber, maybe there's this, that, maybe there's a big barking dog. When I was a little kid, maybe it's Frankenstein coming to gobble me up. As soon as the sun comes, everything becomes clear. If it's foggy, how can I travel on the road? I mean, people have accidents driving on the road. As soon as the sun comes out, burns off the fog. The Bhagavatam is considered to be, not as considered, is experienced to be spiritual sun. And it burns off all the fog and eliminates all the fear of darkness in this world. So, people think, I'll worry about it later. One man, I was there, one man said to Prabhupada, the founder of the Harekrishna movement, sooner or later I'll take up spiritual life, sooner or later. And we think that, sooner or later, 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 later. Prabhupada said, better sooner. Do you know you have a later? Anyone here have a guarantee that they're going to live another 10, 15 minutes? I mean, I hope you do. May you have a long life. But anybody got a certificate that guarantees? I mean, very few people wake up in the morning and think, I'm going to drop dead of a heart attack today, or I'm going to get in a car accident. Or my favorite, there was a guy in El Cajon, went out for a morning walk to the 7-Eleven to get or a Starbucks or whatever, and was hit and killed by a lime green bowling ball flying out of the sky. Smack! Hit him in the chest and killed him. Anyone want to know where the lime green bowling ball came from? I was curious. Somebody was flying from, what is that field, that brown field? What is that? Montgomery Field, whatever it is that's out there, was flying to a bowling competition in Las Vegas in a single engine, his own Cessna, a plane, flying to Las Vegas. Something went wrong. He was losing power. He was trying to land, and he started throwing everything out as, to lighten his load. One of the things he threw out was his bowling bag. It was open, the bowling ball. It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's a lime green bowling ball. Did you think he woke up in the morning thinking, hey, that's how I'm going to go? So, I mean, who has a guarantee? So sooner or later, we're thinking, but time is running out. How much sooner do we have? This one's just for fun. Time and Tate, wait for, I don't know if you can see this guy, but this guy's smiley face, all is good. Here's death personified with a needle. See that? So, there it is. Here's another one. Pedal as fast as you can. I'm right behind you. I mean, you can prolong your life a little bit, good health, but, you can't outrun time. So, what is found in the Bhagavatam? Okay, we've explained a little bit about principle and its origin and the value, and I should try to check out these things. What's in the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam, this 18-volume encyclopedia? It begins, it's an inspiration through dramatic life stories. Here's an example. This is Maharaj Parikshit. He was a king over India, Bharat, all of Bharat. Handsome, powerful, beautiful wife, opulent, wealth, kingdom of the entire subcontinent of India and more. What else? Coming in a noble line from the Pandavas. So, on top of the world, somehow or other, it's all described in the Bhagavatam. It's quite that. Each story leads into another story that reminds someone of it. It's a wonderful, you just open it up and it's story after story. So he was cursed to die in 7 days. On top of everything, cursed to die in 7 days. What did he do? He went, hey Govinda. He went and sat by the banks of the Ganga, a holy river, Ganges. And saints and sages and philosophers from all over the world came because he was such a noble king, asking, what is the purpose of life? You know, I met a man one time, he said, it's a long story, but I bought everything I wanted in life. I had, the house by the sea with a sea view of La Jolla Bay. I'm on my 3rd trophy wife. I've got a Bentley, a Rolls, and a brand new Mercedes. And he said, I have grabbed life with both hands. And he said, but happiness has slipped right through my fingers. Smart guy. So what is the purpose? How do I really become happy? And not this fleeting fool's happiness, but lasting happiness. So those were the questions. So what the Bhagavatam is, the launching point, is this king and all these sages, even Narada Muni, for those who know, is sitting there. The most realized of all the sages was the son of Vyasadeva, Shukadeva Goswami. So Maharaj Parikshit is asking questions, the king is asking questions, and Sukadeva is answering by giving all kinds of stories and analogies, and that's what's in the Bhagavatam. Here's just one example. There's the whole story of Prahlad Maharaj, a little boy, 5 years old, 6 years old, 5 years old. Generally speaking, we say 5 years old. Evil father, so it's a whole story. The father tried to kill the boy in so many ways, and how he was saved, and how he developed firm faith and conviction. So that's just fearless, in grave danger. And we're all in danger at different points of time. This is Draupadi, how Krishna is the best shelter. She was threatened to be, there's a whole wonderful story. How she was lost in a gambling match, and the evil princes that won her in the gambling match tried to disrobe her. And for a woman of chastity to be disrobed, stripped in public, it's the immense shame. So she was trying to hold on to her sari, one of these, like the ladies are wearing one of these saris, and they were all trying to undress her. Finally, she realized, what can I do by myself? My strength, I'm a woman against 7 or 8 princes, strong men. What can I do? So she finally just put her hand up and said, Krishna, please help me. Realizing there was no other shelter than Krishna. And Krishna gave her an unlimited sari. They pulled and pulled and pulled. She had an unlimited sari. It's a famous story. But it's fully described in the Bhagavatam. And all the explanation of the different characters and what their motives were. And it's just, anyway. Here's Dhruva. Again, this is a young boy. He was his fathers had several wives, as kings in those days did. And this is Dhruva right here. Dhruva's mother was not the favorite queen. So, a young boy, he went to sit on his father's lap, and not his mother, one of the other queens, who was the favorite of the king, said, you can't sit on the king's lap. You didn't come from my womb. Get off his lap. And the young boy turned to his father, the king. But the father was silent because he was attached to that other queen, and in great shame. And you can imagine the pain of the boy, rejected by his own father and shamed. What did he do? He went to his mother. And his mother said, what can you do? You just have to depend on Krishna. Krishna is another name for God. You have to depend on Krishna. So a little boy, he said, where do I find Krishna? So the mother said, great yogis, great mystics, find Krishna in the forest. So immediately, 5-year-old boy, 6-year-old boy, set off for the forest, all by himself. And there's a whole story, how he was instructed by Narada Muni, how to practice yoga, meditation. And in 6 months, Krishna was so pleased, he appeared before him. So, and this is Krishna as Narayan appearing before him. Narada Muni instructs a king, this king, Parchinibarashat, is this the name of this king? Yeah. So this king was noble, but he's a king, and he was a little puffed up, a little arrogant. So it's hard to give someone who's very proud to give them good instruction. So Narada Muni, who we mentioned several times, instructs the king through all kinds of analogies, and it goes on for several chapters in the Bhagavatam, and it's just like, why is someone like a crane or a stork? There once was a man like a stork. And it describes because a stork standing in cold water looking for some fish. All kinds of rocks are hitting him. Inconvenient. He's in a dangerous position. But every now and then he finds a fish. So we're like that. With so many anxieties, so many pressures, and every now and then we get a little happiness. So he couldn't tell the king directly, you're a fool chasing after simple pleasures while you're actually suffering so many distresses. The king never would have accepted it. So he said, there was once a man who was like a crane. And it's a whole set. I don't have time to go through it. But there's so many analogies. It's a whole lot. He starts off by saying, there is a hole through which climbing, once a man enters, never comes back. And there is a wheel spinning with, 12 spokes. And he's talking about this material world, and the wheel spinning is the wheel of time, and the spokes are the months, and it's a whole analogy. There is a queen there who gives false direction. The queen is the intelligence. I mean, it just goes, and it's all elaborately explained. So these are just some samples of what's in the Bhagavatam. We're almost done. This is Queen Kunti, noble queen. Lost everything. Lost her kingdom, lost her husbands, was banished to the forest for 14 years, or 12 years in the forest, and then 12 years incognito. I mean, it's just her life story. Well, even one of the great stalwart warriors in Vedic time, Bhishmadev, would think of the life of Kunti and shed tears, how much she suffered. But how she dealt with it, what her thoughts were, how she surmounted it, how she was ultimately victorious. I mean, that in and of itself is an amazing story. All there in the Bhagavatam. And this is just a sample. There's hundreds of stories in the Bhagavatam. There's an in-depth narration of the Ramayana, the story of Ram. Anyone who knows Rama, Sita, it's one of the most beautiful epics. Forget Romeo and Juliet, or I don't know what else what are epics. The Iliad and the Odyssey. Forget it. They're nothing compared to the Ramayana. And the Krishna's Leela. There's a whole canto describing Krishna's Leela, the 10th canto. So there's the process, the perfection of yoga. What is the process of actually? You cannot, okay, fine, it's good exercise. No problem. You go to a yoga class, you learn some breathing, some asana, some exercise. Hey, great for your health, blood circulation. But it is not really the process of self-realization. So what is the real yoga process that puts you in touch with the self, the soul? Fully described in the Bhagavatam. The cosmology and the Vedic concept of time. It's better than Shakespeare. It's got drama, romance, setbacks and successes, villains. It's got some of the most amazing... I've got to put a few pictures here of some villains. 10-headed Ravana. Yeah, that's pretty good. He was a shape-shifting demon. He could go to 1 head or 10 heads. I mean, there's a lot in the Bhagavatam. Okay. So we can be the captain of our fate. We're not just buffeted or blown by the winds of time and fate. We can get out in front of it with the weapon of knowledge. I always got a kick out of this. I don't know if you can see from, but it says, you are here, like one of those mall maps. You thought you were here, and you should be here. So are we just supposed to roam through life and, well, that's just the way it is? Or should we get out in front of it, if it's possible? And we are saying, through the Srimad Bhagavatam, coming in this disciplic succession, it is possible to get transcendental spiritual knowledge where we can get out in front of simply being blown by the hand of fate. So, it's worth a little effort to read the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is in France, and these are some of our ISKCON monks, and this is somebody who called out, "Hey, what are you selling there? That looks good. I want a Bhagavatam." But he couldn't find the key to his door. The devotees were telling me the story. So the devotees made a chain, and the money came down, the book went up, and he was buying sets one by one, 18 volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam. So it took a little effort, So, okay, fine. Take a little... The Bhagavatam, I'm going to give you the price in a moment. A friend of mine, who comes to the temple, a nice guy, and he was telling me that what convinced him to buy a Bhagavatam set, he figured out how much he spends at Starbucks on coffee. Does anyone, I don't want to embarrass anybody, what is a Starbucks coffee? A cup of let's say $5, I won't ask how you know. You saw the sign as you walked by. Caffeine has its effect on you. So suppose you have 2 cups a day. What is that, 10? That's 70? That's, 240? times 12. I mean, just there it goes. How much money we spend on a cup of coffee, or how much time do we spend just flipping the channels on the TV, or searching on whatever it is, online. What's up, How much time? Take a little time every day and read the Bhagavatam. Spend a little money. Make a little effort. And this is what will happen to you. You'll be invited into this world I've described. So the shining light of knowledge. I explained why light is like it lights up darkness. It's compared to a boat. Knowledge is compared to a boat, because in a boat you can cross over an ocean. It's compared to a sword, because a sword you can cut through darkness. It's compared to shoes. These are all what knowledge is compared to. If I'm walking barefoot in a forest, so many rocks, so many sticks, how far can I walk before my feet are shredded? But if I put on shoes, I can walk for miles, because I'm insulated, I'm protected. So similarly, trouble is going to come in this life. I'm 66. If you're 10 or 12, you may say, well, no. By the time you get to 20, you got a little, By the time you get to my age, it's coming down the pipe. But if you put on shoes, it's easy to walk, the shoes of knowledge. So, only 2 more slides, I think. So you can get your own set of Bhagavatam today for only $225. This basically covers the cost of printing and a little money for shipping. All 18 volumes, $225. You can put it on a card in our gift shop. What else? It comes in English, Spanish, Hindi, Gujarati, and Telugu. And if you speak Tamil or you speak French or German, we can order it for you. So there it is. Now, I want to show one last thing. This is Prabhupada reading the Bhagavatam. Now I need to move for this. This is a special day is coming up. It's called Badra Purnima. And I want to show you, it's literally a 3.5, maybe 4-minute presentation. I just have to go over to my computer, and you'll like it. It's fun. And it explains what the relation between this Badra Purnima, this auspicious day that's coming, and the Srimad Bhagavatam. It explains the link. Okay? Now, where is Janardhan, who promised me he would be here? Ah, Janardhan to the rescue. Okay, so I have to put this mic. Don't go anywhere. It's only 3 minutes, and you'll like it. I'm going to put this by my computer, and then once the sound comes, Janardhanji, you need to adjust it so people can hear it. Is that okay? Oh, I want so many things. But I think I can hobble this far. Well, maybe not. Hold on. Unless we've killed it. Oh, Govinda. Now, could we click on the lights just for uno momento? And you have to be ready to shut them off immediately. Okay. Now, this is we're talking about harekrishna. Badra Purnima, this September 24th. So here goes this presentation if all works well. Can we turn on the other light, or turn them up? Because I can't see. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Prabhu. What is this? Hold on. Working. Oh, Govinda. Hey, Govinda. Don't worry, we'll get there. They say anticipation gives rise to great satisfaction. So you're waiting there in anticipation. I think you'll like this. Assuming we can get it to go. Okay. Oh, what is your issue? Okay, here we go. Volume, Gerard. Volume. Fast, fast.
Hare Krishna. This year there's an incredible opportunity to make spiritual advancement. That's Bhadra Purnima. It's coming up September 24th, 2018. It's the day that the Srimad Bhagavatam says,
Well, it doesn't look like this is going to work.
Oh, Krishna. I thought you were seeing it. Well, my friends.
You can turn it down, Prabhu. I'm just going to wing it right here. And we'll figure out how to get this to work some other time. September 24th is called Badra Purnima. And anyone on this day who receives as a gift or gives away a set, this volume of Srimad Bhagavatam, anyone who does this is guaranteed liberation and to see Krishna face to face. So if I just offered you, here's a free ticket to anywhere you want to go in the world, just take it. Whoa, golden opportunity. So it's described, and it gives we'll figure out how to show this on another time. But it's explained in the Vedic literature that on the full moon of Badra Purnima, Purnima means full moon, Badra means auspicious. So anyone who on this Badra Purnima purchases, gives away, or keeps a set of Srimad Bhagavatam is guaranteed liberation and is guaranteed to see Krishna face to face. That's like winning the spiritual lottery. So later on today, if you'd like to order a Srimad Bhagavatam set, you can check with me. If you'd like to get a set now and keep it and give it on Badra Purnima, if any way this has inspired you, let me know. Okay? Thank you for sitting so patiently. Hare Krishna.